just you and me. One big family, just you and me. One big family, that's how we shine. One big family, just you and me. One big family, that's how we'll be. One big family, that's you and me. One life loving as you and me. One love loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One life loving as you and me. One life living as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. And I'm shining from the inside out. I'm so happy. I just wanna one life living as you and me. One life loving as you and me. One life shining as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One life shining as you and me. One life loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is. One life living as you and me. One life living as you and me. One life loving as you and me. 'Cause God is all there is.
Good morning, and welcome to Universal Spirit Center. I'm Kevin Busey, and I have the great joy, the great honor to be the spiritual leader of our thriving, prosperous community. So I welcome you this morning to Universal Spirit Center. So whoever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual path, please know that you are welcome with us. We're an inclusive spiritual community that honor all paths to the divine. So we're glad that you're with us. And if you're new with us this morning, a special welcome to you. Please check us out. Please go to our website and click on Contact Us, and we will send you information about all the various things that are going on in our community. So thanks for being with us this morning. And now it's my joy to welcome Gina Walker and Linda Ely.
I see joy, I see peace, I see the beauty surrounding me. I see love in every breath I breathe. I see God in everything. I feel joy, I feel peace, I feel the beauty surrounding me. I feel love in every breath I breathe. I feel God in everything. Good morning, Universal Spirit Center. It is so good to see you this morning. From my heart to yours, I am sending you much love and a huge virtual hug. I know joy, I know peace, I know the beauty surrounding me. I know love in every breath I breathe. I know God's in everything. I know happiness, I know freedom. I know the beauty that lives in me. I know perfection in what life brings. I know God in everything. I choose joy, I choose peace, I choose the beauty surrounding me. I choose love in every breath I breathe. I choose God in everything. I choose happiness, I choose freedom, I choose the beauty that lives in me. I choose perfection in what life brings. I choose God in everything. I choose God in everything. I choose God in everything. Namaste, 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 namaste.
That was Gina Walker, our music director, and Linda Ely, our house band these days, our full house band. So welcome if you just joined us, if you've just tuned in. We're Universal Spirit Center, and I'm Kevin Buse, and I welcome you this morning to our spiritual gathering. So we usually start these spiritual gatherings with a shout out. We recognize an individual or a group of people. So I'm recognizing now this morning a really important two groups of people. The first are the greeters and then the ushers. So when we used to get together physically for our Sunday gatherings, we'd have two groups of people. The greeters who would warmly greet you and hug you or give you a handshake when we were able to do those things. They'd give you a bulletin, and they would lovingly welcome you to our gathering. So I want to give a special shout out to you greeters. And then also our ushers. We're a very important group of people as well, because our ushers were the folks that came around and took your money during the gathering. So they're very important people too. We want to just shout out those folks, and we're knowing you'll be returning to us when we all come back together physically. So just want to thank all the ushers and all the greeters for your work. We love you, we miss you guys, and we look forward to seeing all of you again. So part of a way in which we want to be here for you guys is just the acknowledgement that our nation and our world has gone through a major trauma in the last couple of years, certainly the last few months. And we just want to create a safe community, spiritual space for us to get together and share whatever's going on for us as a result of this trauma. So we're going to be meeting on our website through Zoom on February 2nd. That's a Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. And myself and members of the steering committee, the Racial Equality Project, are just going to come together, and we're going to facilitate an opportunity for you to be heard. We're going to have some prayer, and we're going to have some healing. So if you feel the need for that, join us 6:30 February 2nd through our Zoom room. And also, I want to acknowledge that Darmini, who for 2 years, our licensed prayer practitioner, Darmini, for 2 years has overseen our home group program and done a great job at just facilitating it. She's joined other great leaders, Donna, who brought the program to us, and then Zena, who headed the program for, I think, a couple years as well. I'll acknowledge those ladies. Darmini, who's decided to step down for that role, and Sarah Adams has stepped up to that role. So Sarah Adams is now the new director of our home group program. Speaking of home groups are groups of people that meet throughout the county. Well, now they all meet through Zoom, but they meet either weekly, every other week, or monthly. They're members or congregants of our community, and they gather together to support each other, to pray with each other, and to discuss the Sunday message or whatever seems relevant for them at the time. And I will tell you, these home groups have been a really supportive element in our community for those of us who have maybe felt isolated or cut off. So I want to acknowledge all of our home group leaders, I want to acknowledge all of the participants who are in our home groups. And I want to also acknowledge the fact that we have home group openings. So if you've tuned in this morning and one of these groups where you can get together periodically and just share in a loving, safe space where you're at and maybe talk about the message or whatever other spiritual topic is happening that Sunday, please, if you're interested in joining those groups, email Lee at lee@universalspiritcenter.org. lee@universalspiritcenter.org, and we will get you into a group. All right, I think that's all I have. Lee has a couple classes that he wants to tell you about. So our administrator, Lee Armentrout.
Hey everybody, Lee Armentrout here at Universal Spirit Center. I get to share a couple of things about some classes coming up next month. Sherry Ganand, she's one of our practitioners and also a ministerial student. She's going to be presenting a class that she's calling Your Higher Purpose. And I'm going to read to you what it is that she says about this class. It starts on Thursday, February 4, and goes to February 18. So there's 3 Thursday evenings from 6:30 to 8:30. And here's what Sherry says about her course. This course will help participants understand the nature of their essential self in order to release blocks to fulfill their highest or noble purpose, and will learn tools for revealing their unique gifts and highest purpose. By the end of this course, participants will be able to create their own credo or guiding principle that points the way to their noble purpose, and will be able to state at least one way their gifts can be of service in the world. And you're invited to bring along something to journal when you go to the Zoom community room. Check out our classes page and you'll see all of the details there. Now I'm doing a class too. That starts on February 8th, and we go for 4 Monday evenings. We come together around a book called Living the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. So what I'll do is I'll assign some essays. There's very little reading. Predominantly, this class is about connection and sharing spiritual tools with one another and learning from one another. So that's 4 Mondays starting February 8th, and register on the website. That confirmation email will have a link to the Zoom room that we'll be using. So exciting things coming up next month. Thanks for your attention. I'll see you again. Bye.
Good morning. My name is Mary Lanigro. I'm one of your prayer practitioners here at the Universal Spirit Center. Welcome. And first, I'd like to share that we have a Zoom prayer room that opens up immediately after the service, and someone will be there for you to offer prayer. So please, access that service. Thank you. I also want to share that I have the opportunity this morning to do the reading, a moment of silence, and then our prayer that will then lead into our service. Our reading this morning is by Joel Goldsmith. And what does Joel say? He says the mind is an instrument for something higher than itself, and that something is the one self. And when we come to the point where the mind is governed by self, we will be embraced by a peace that passes understanding. A peace that passes understanding. I know here and now, for all persons, that there is one divine vibration, one love, one source. For each person present via Zoom, each person who opens their heart and soul and who knows of self, of this peace, who knows that through this tragedy of COVID, that 500,000 souls have transitioned, and they have transitioned for our purpose of knowing self and peace, and knowing there is something greater, and knowing that within ourselves that we dig deep for love, yes, for love, internal knowing with each breath that it is a gift, that this physical vessel is here for more than a purpose of just physically walking. It is to deepen in our hearts and souls and be touched by each person that transitions. And somehow we deepen in ourselves and we govern in ourselves. And we have this love. And when we know this within, we simply radiate it to others. And we also deepen in our purpose of loving, our purpose of gratitude for each breath, for each living breath, and also compassion for those who have physically lost someone, because that is real, and that sometimes can bring sorrow, and that too is real. Just sending love to all those persons. At the same time, I send gratitude, the vibration of gratitude for all entities that have allowed the opportunity for us to continue as a spiritual community through technology. And we are transporting the vibration of love. Yes, we are. And that too is a gift. I send peace to each of you. I send love to each of you and to myself. And we know this is a community. And together we say, and so it is.
Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityarma Amritam Gamaya Om Asatoma Satkamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityarma Amritam Gamaya Mrityarma Amritam Gamaya. I'll walk in the rain by your side. I'll cling to the warmth of your hand. I'll do anything to help you understand. I'll love you more than anybody can. And the winds will whisper your name to me. Little birds will sing along in time. And leaves will bow down when you walk by. you're feeling down, to kiss away the tears if you cry. I'll share with you all the happiness I have found, a reflection of love in your eyes. And I'll sing you the songs of the rainbow, a whisper of the joy that is mine. And leaves will bow down when you walk by, and morning bells will chime. Loca, samasta, sukino bhavantu. Loca, samasta, sukino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings be happy and free. May that happiness begin with me. May all beings be happy and free. May that happiness begin with me, and will shine like diamonds in the sky. Every one of us, every one of us, and will shine like diamonds in the sky. Every one of us, every one of us. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu.
Wow, Alana Pearl. Well, let's acknowledge Alana Pearl. So beautiful, Alana. So beautiful. Alana Pearl, one of our own. So happy to say that. And the harmonium she learned during the shutdown. And this is the first time that she has played it publicly. So just acknowledge that. Quite a feat. So Alana, thank you for being with us. It was beautiful. Beautiful. So, Gino, I've been practicing my singing during the shutdown. She just laughs. I know I'm not really, but so glad you're with us this morning. It looks like I'm sitting in a park, doesn't it? Yeah, it's just a, just a canned photo, but it looks like I am. So there's a dynamic within life, to call it a spiritual truth maybe. It's something that you've certainly heard about, if not experienced yourself. And this dynamic within life, this spiritual truth, it's this, that if we approach it right, if we approach crisis in a certain way, it leads to transformation. Crisis could lead to transformation. It's the way of the universe. It's what propels evolution. And so for us, when we experience it individually, crisis, I think it's that part in us that is maybe healthy or wants more out of life or knows they want to leave the place of crisis because it's too painful or it's not safe. And so it propels us to a new consciousness. And that's the transformation. So within crisis, whether it's personal crisis or whether it's global crisis, there is always a call to transformation. To leave that lower energy of maybe suffering or victimhood into an elevated state of consciousness, an elevated state of being. We see it through all Scripture. We see it in nature, and we see it in our own lives. So this time now that we're experiencing, whatever particular crisis you might want to point to, this time we're in, it's a call to transformation. It's a call to transformation. There's an old Zen story about a master and his disciple, and they're walking to the forest. And they're on their journey together, and they sit to have lunch. And the student, the disciple, has been working up the courage the whole journey to ask his master a question. So finally, when they sit down at lunch and they're starting to share their lunch, the disciple says, "Master, how do I become enlightened? How do I experience transformation? How does that happen?" And the master's quiet. Doesn't say anything for a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, just quiet. And the disciple's wondering if his master heard him and is about ready to ask again. And just about when he's starting to ask the question again, the master says, "Do you hear that far distant river?" And the disciple gets really quiet to see if he could hear that far distant river. And after about a minute, he thinks he hears it. And he's like, "Yeah, he hears it." So he turns to the master and he says, "Yes, I can hear it." And the master turns to him and says, "Enter from there." Enter enlightenment, transformation from there. In other words, enter it through stillness, away from the noise and the busyness within our heads and within our lives. enter transformation through stillness, because stillness brings about a spaciousness. And a spaciousness brings about awareness. Stillness brings about a spaciousness, and spaciousness brings about an awareness. I will bet there's only one thing about you that has stayed consistent from the time you were born. I mean, think about this. Everything about you and your life since your birth has changed. There has been change in every part of who you are and your surroundings and your family. Everything's different from the time that you were born, except for one thing that has remained constant. And actually, it's been constant from before your birth, and it will be present after your death. And that one constant is your ability to be aware. Awareness. Now, in our evolution, we don't remember awareness until about 2 or 3, 4 years old. We could think back on awareness, but we were aware in the womb. We were aware in infancy. We were aware before our birth. And this is an awareness is probably best defined in which there is no awareness of past and no awareness of future. And a stillness of the activity of concepts. The Buddhists call it the holy observer. It's the one who is just aware. Part of the reason that I have nature shots in the back of me on Sunday mornings is because nature brings about a stillness that could bring about awareness. What's common for each being is this ability to simply be aware of the moment. Some have called it consciousness. Ernest Holmes in Science of Mind text calls it the one mind. We call it divinity. It's the same thing we share with the divine. It's divine awareness. The best way to define God is to say that God is awareness. It's that in which we live and move and have our being. It's when you and I are uncrowded by past and future and mental concepts. So it's the present moment. It's awareness in the present moment, or it's attention in the present moment that brings about this experience of awareness. So a good question to ask ourselves might be, what is your relationship with the present moment? You know, think about it maybe you could define your relationship with the present moment as you might define your relationship with a person in your life. Is your relationship with a person in your life functional? Is it healthy? Is it possessive? Is it dysfunctional? We could kind of define or look at or explore our relationship with the present moment in the same way. Do we have a dysfunctional dysfunctional relationship with the present moment, with the now? Or do we have a healthy relationship with the now moment? You know, there's any number of ways we could perpetuate a dysfunctional relationship with the present moment, just like we might with a person. We could ignore the present moment. We could ignore it, just like we might a person. We could ignore the present moment and be so caught up in what has happened or what will happen that we're never in relationship with the present moment. We could consider the present moment as simply a means to an end. That the present moment only matters so that I could get somewhere else. So I could leave this present moment, or I could leave what's happening now, and I could be somewhere else, right? So that's a means to an end. So we only use the present moment to get somewhere else. We could use the present moment as an obstacle, as in our way. We could crowd the present moment so much with concepts, mental activity, judgments, comparisons, that we've crowded out any awareness of the moment. And so then what we do is we live in mental concepts. So I've thought about this in my own life, you know, and I'm guilty of it all. I want to share a little bit about this for myself. I like to blame it on my astrological sign. I like to blame a lot of things on my astrological sign. But I like to blame it on like the Capricorn. You know, I plan ahead, linear thinking, you know, plan ahead. But I'm frequently planning what's next. I'm taking the present moment and I'm filling it with the future. So it's really a concept. So I'm not living in the present moment. I'm planning the future. There are also times in which I live in regret in what's happened, you know, in what something I said or did or didn't say or didn't do. And I find myself in that energy too, that energy of regret. I also find myself sometimes overwhelmed with mental concepts, roles that I play, labels that I play, and even an element of competition. You know, I could do better. And I say, I'm telling on myself for several reasons. One, maybe you could get some understanding about how you are not experiencing a healthy relationship with the present moment. But the other thing that I'm committed in making this a practice of, especially since we've had this shutdown, because many of us have had more time to be in the present moment. I know I have. Is I catch myself when I'm so involved in planning the future, when I'm so involved in being in the past or in mental concepts, you know, as soon as I'm aware of it, I'm like, whoa, I am nowhere present in this relationship with now. And it's a way that I call myself back. I call myself back. I'm back in the present moment. I really don't want to be off in those places of regret, those places of the present moment is so crowded with concepts or mental activity. Or planning what's next. So I make it a habit that as soon as I'm aware that I'm off in some other place, I call myself back here. And the more I'm practicing it, the better, I got to tell you, the better I'm getting at it. It's almost like if we were in a relationship with someone else and we were ignoring them, or we weren't present to them, or you know, we were involved in other stuff, they might say to us, hey, remember me? Or remember the importance of our relationship. Spend some time here with me. It's almost like a loved one telling us that, right? And we'd be like, oh yeah. So the present moment can call us to that. I have to wonder if all of the violence we're experiencing today, all of the racism, all of the political stuff that we're experiencing, the pandemic we're experiencing, if it isn't all because we have lost touch with the present moment. We're somewhere else in mental concepts, in judgments, in blame, in past, in future, in fear, in competition, in greed, and that it's playing out in our bodies as the pandemic. Consider that. What if this simple remedy to the present crisis is simply to call ourselves into relationship with now? One of the reasons I think now is so important, it is the only place you and I experience the divine. It's only now. I mean, we could theorize about God. We could talk about how we think God's acted, but it's not experience. And I think that we're so quick as a culture to dismiss the divine experience as authentic because we're so out of touch with the present moment that as a culture we've lost touch or the capability to easily move into the experience of the divine. Over 2,000 years ago, Jesus said this saying that appears on first glance paradoxical. He says, to gain your life, you have to lose your life. To gain your life, you have to lose your life. To gain yourself, you have to lose yourself. So what life do we have to lose? What self do we have to lose? I think it's this. I think the self that we have to lose to find ourself, the self we have to lose, is the self that's bound up in the past, that's bound up in unforgiveness, that's bound up in anxiety about the future, in what's next. It's the self that's tied to the emotional and thought, energetic, stuck patterns within us that keep us limited and keep us suffering. It's the call to lose that self that finds identity in labels, in roles, in competition, in comparison. It's to lose that so that the one self, the divine self, the real self can show up. I think everything I'm talking about this morning is summed up so beautifully in the life of Buddha. Buddha, who was Siddhartha, started his spiritual journey to alleviate suffering. It's when you and I experience crisis and realize this is too painful for me to be in. I've got to move. So Siddhartha spent, I think it was 7 years, I could be wrong about that, exploring different spiritual traditions and spiritual practices and spiritual rituals. 7 years he was in the forest and he's trying all these different things. Nothing was working, but on some level he was being prepared. Finally, when he stopped, when he got still, when he breathed, when he planted himself under that Bodhi tree, did he awaken? Did he move from any sense of suffering within himself to enlightenment in the stillness? In the stillness that created within his soul a spaciousness which called forth the awareness of enlightening. And the Buddhists have a saying that right action, which is a big tenet of Buddhism, the right action to have in a moment. Right action does not come in thinking about it. It's not a mental concept, oh, I should do this next. It's not that. Right action comes from within us through the spaciousness of our soul. It comes from the depth of our being. We are intuitively guided as to what actions to take when there's enough spaciousness. So this morning, I invite you, I encourage you, I challenge you to just be. To breathe. To get still. And to experience within yourself an awareness, a divine consciousness that is always calling your name. So just take a breath in. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes. And I want to read again this reading that Mary read to us earlier by Joel Goldsmith. The mind is an instrument for something higher than itself. And that something is the one self. When we come to the point where mind is governed by self, we are embraced by a peace that surpasses understanding. So in this moment, we open to divine awareness. We open to the stillness that rises up within us as we pause. We open to be spacious enough to let right action move through us, where we release the old small false self, and we become the one divine authentic self. So we know this right now for ourselves, and we know this for all beings everywhere. And so it is.
O cosmic creator of all that is, O cosmic source of all space where your presence can reside. Move in us as your hand, so we can be the perfect vessels of your mission. Enlighten us that we may serve the highest good and find solace in forgiveness. There we go. Hallelujah. Thank you. May we always remember our purpose. Illuminate the wisdom in every moment. For this infinity is yours. Endless experience is mine. I am yours, you are mine. This is ours, I am thine. From the beginning without end, forever and ever, amen. From the beginning without end, forever and ever, amen. 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 From the beginning without end, forever and ever, amen. From the beginning without end, forever and ever, amen. 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 Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful, Alana. Whoop, whoop. That was so awesome. Thank you so much for being our special guest artist today. What a beautiful gift. And I get the pleasure today of being Conscious Giving, a walking, talking letter. So, you know, I have to say that my heart is really filled with so much joy that I am enjoying being not only a part of giving, but being this expression of abundance. And it's a beautiful thing to share with the community that I call home. This is my home. and to share with my home, to see the things that I give consciously in my time, in my tithe, in my consciousness. And it is this beautiful gift that prepares all that we do in the world. So each and every one of us, as we give, we are not only just giving for ourselves, we're giving to Universal Spirit Center so that we are this global giving machine. So I am so grateful to be a part of that. And it is a joy to give to a community that does so much in the world. We are constantly lifting each other up, not only through finances, but through all of the classes and the teachers and speakers. It's just this beautiful merry-go-round of giving and receiving. And so for that, that's why I continue to give so joyously, so happily here to Universal Spirit Center, because I believe in all that we're doing, and I like being a part of it. It's so cool to be a part of something that's out in the world creating a better place. So I want to thank you all so much. And these are the ways that you can donate to us. Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude before me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around. I'm so grateful. 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 Gratitude before me, gratitude behind me, gratitude to the left of me, gratitude to the right of me, gratitude above me, gratitude below me, gratitude within me, gratitude all around. I'm so grateful. 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 So grateful. I'm so grateful. So grateful. And I'm grateful to bring these last two announcements, things that are happening this week. Our Racial Equality Project program. You know, we've been featuring the movie True Justice for the month, and this Friday is our Zoom community to come together and unpack this amazing movie and discuss the feelings and things that are going on with you. Also, for this week, this Awakening Wednesday, dance! Life is a dance, and I'm excited to bring some wonderful dancers to you this week. So looking forward to that. I am grateful. I'm so grateful. And I'm grateful for Reverend Kevin. What an awesome job today. It's on you, baby. I'm grateful.
And along with Gino, I am so grateful. I am so grateful for our center, for Universal Spirit Center. I'm grateful for you and the many ways in which you support us. I'm grateful that Gino has found home with us, Gino Walker. Thank you, Gina. Linda Ely, for your magical playing each week. Alana Pearl, was her voice and presence beautiful or what? Such perfect songs, Alana Pearl. We're so glad that you're with us this morning, and that your song, along with the message, fits so beautifully. Thank you so much, Alana. Corey, behind the scenes, working the camera and the sounds. Darmini, for your service with small groups, and for Sarah Adams for stepping up. And Marilyn Lanigro, thank you for your prayers this morning. Thank you for your loving presence and for calling in all beings to join us here this morning. Thank all of you for joining us. We're so glad that you did. So let's just take a breath in. Let's just feel this rising, blessed, holy presence within us. Feel it rise forth within us. And we know we are surrounded by beings of light. And we are called forth for the experience of transformation. To be beings, facilitators of light upon our planet during this time. So I know each one of us is fully supported and guided and deeply loved. And that we're still enough to be spacious and to be aware of how deeply loved we are. And join with me in knowing this as together we say, and so it is. Thank you for being with us this morning. Be safe, be well.
I am blessed. I am blessed. Every day of my life, I am blessed with all the best. When I wake